Welcome! This is Dr. Gary Salton, Chief of R&D and creator of IOP Technology. Most authors jump right into giving advice on resolving team tension without ever identifying a cause. This is like trying to fix a car without knowing what's broken. Try enough things and something's going to work. However, a more efficient, effective, and intelligent approach is to isolate the cause before proposing a remedy. Tension can be born of many conflicting interests. For example, two people may be after the same job. Heck, some people may even enjoy the contests that are often associated with tension conditions. However, these sources of tension are local. They are not constant across every team and every situation. But there are tensions that will always be present in any team doing anything. Knowing what these tension sources are and how to address them will always apply to any team initiative. This video draws its inspiration from a study of over 10,000 people in more than 1,500 firms. That study found that hierarchical structures have automatic mechanisms to control tension. This study applies some of those insights to the behavior of teams. It all starts with information. You need information to address any issue. At minimum, you need information on what that issue is. The linear information processing model works fine when dealing with well-understood repetitive matters. But with unfamiliar issues, the kind of stuff teams normally deal with, the model changes from a linear to a dynamic information flow. In the dynamic model, the process box tells input what to look for and/or to accept in order to address the issue in question. And it tells output what is possible based on the input that is available. This give and take bounces back and forth between inputs available and output possibilities, constantly adjusting one in light of the other. So, what's all this got to do with team tension? Well, tension is an anxiety or strain that distorts the mutually productive relationships between people. Let's take a deeper look and see if we can isolate the source of this tension. Let's start with input. Input is a continuum that ranges from unpatterned on one end to structured on the other. The unpatterned end is opportunistic. It accepts any input that looks like it might work. It is a highly responsive strategy since not a lot of time is spent filtering input quality. That quality is controlled by a culling process. Things that don't work are quickly discarded. This produces an uneven product stream, but what is left at the end does meet some kind of minimum standard. It is a rational and viable strategy, especially when dealing with crises where quick action counts for more than perfect solutions. Structure is at the other end of the continuum. It uses some kind of plan, formula, or other prearranged method as a guide. Structure is a two-speed strategy. If a plan is in place, things move very fast. With unfamiliar issues, things slow down while some kind of plan is built and input options are assessed. So we have some people who are always fast, but who tend toward a somewhat imperfect output, and others who can be fast or slow depending on their familiarity with an issue. But their product output is generally exacting in nature. So, what's all this got to do with teams? Well, teams are an interdependent matrix of people working toward a common goal. And all of these people are running around taking in somewhat different information, processing it using different standards of acceptable input. Some want detail, others focus on central aspects. And everybody is moving at a different speed, some fast, some slow, and some alternating between fast and slow. Now that is a lot of opportunity for confusion. But confusion is not tension. To see where tension comes from, we have to look on the output side of the model. Output is measured on a continuum with thought on one side and action on the other. As suggested by the sundial and hourglass symbols, similar input but different output elections produce related but distinct results. To see how input and output work together, we have to convert the basic model into a measurable form. IOP does this with a concept of strategic style. As you can see in this illustration, The numbers on each of the four extremes of the visual model relate directly to the four style axes of the IOP model. These IOP axes are called IOP styles. Each of the four IOP styles is a unique combination of input and output elections. These combinations can be measured and generate predictable behaviors that can affect team tension. If you question whether information processing can be accurately measured, look at your cell phone bill. If you still have doubts, look at the targeted ads on your Google searches. Both the bill and the ads are the result of someone measuring information. IOP displays its measurement of information using an IOP profile. The further the profile extends on an axis, the more likely it is that the person will exhibit that behavior. One of the IOP styles, the Hypothetical Analyzer, relies on structured thought. They are thinkers. They produce things like studies, assessments, and evaluation. Their output standard is complete understanding of an issue. It is a rational strategy. But exhaustive thinking takes time, and it is a silent process. From the outside, it can look like nothing is being done. If some kind of glitch develops, it is easy to judge this behavior as a lack of concern, indifference, a warped set of priorities, or similar negative attributions. Rational behavior has now been transformed into a moral judgment, good and bad, right and wrong. The logical processor, another IOP style, uses structured action as their navigation tool. They are doers whose output standard is the efficiency and effectiveness of the complex systems that they maintain. Unfamiliar team issues can look like a threat to these ongoing processes, and they are approached very cautiously. Other team members can see a team issue being neglected as the LP's interest centers on these ongoing responsibilities. They do not see the interconnect of the LP's processes and the team issue. They see the delays in addressing team issues as rigidity, inflexibility, or stubbornness. Once again, rational behavior focused on the well-being of the group is transformed into a moral judgment, good and bad, right and wrong. The Reactive Stimulator, or RS style, uses unpatterned action as their compass. Their focus is resolving issues currently on hand as expeditiously as possible. Their output standard is adequate resolution, delivered quickly. It is a rational strategy, well suited to handling situations where speed counts for more than accuracy. But with any misstep, words like irresponsible, sloppy, imprudent, and impulsive come readily to mind. Still again, moral declarations are imposed upon an objectively rational strategy. Good and bad, right and wrong once again appear. The Relational Innovator, or RI style, navigates life using unpatterned input and thought-based output. The RI weaves together seemingly unrelated things into new theories, options, alternatives, and other unexpected possibilities. Creativity is their standard, and they are quick to offer ideas, sometimes well before they are thought out. Incomplete ideas quickly delivered invite negative attributions like flaky, unrealistic, fanciful, and bizarre, all of which are objectively untestable moral judgments. We seem to have come to an aha moment. We now know a major source of team tension that will always be with us. We use teams to address issues that are beyond the reach of a single person or a single perspective. We want different kinds of people. We want thought. We want action. We want people offering new ideas, and we want people rigorously testing our proposed initiatives. All of these things that we want require different information processing strategies. People using each of these different strategies will interpret an issue in a manner compatible with that processing strategy. Glitches happen, and when they do, everyone falls back to their own logical framework to convince the other guy. Unfortunately, for logic to work, everyone has to use the same logical system. When the other guy does not agree with the logic being offered, the exchange shifts from logic to accusations and insistence, and then to personal attribution. Everyone thinks that their logic is infallible, so the other guy's failure to understand must be due to some personal malfunction. With this judgmental step, humans find a reason for which there is no logical reply or remedy. At this point, reason is shelved in favor of opinion that is not accessible to logical discourse. Emotion, rather than higher-order thinking, becomes the dominant behavioral driver. And the interconnected nature of the team will almost ensure that group performance will be compromised. So, what can we do to control this process? Well, for issues where we know the steps to get from where we are to where we want to go, techniques involving milestones can be useful. Team members agree on events or conditions that are to be in place at particular times, thus providing a base for common understanding. It takes work and resources to lay out and maintain milestones, and it is not a perfect solution. There are always mini milestones between the major events that the people involved are expected to figure out. The more casual nature of these mini milestones make tension-generating misalignments more probable. But, even if not perfect, milestone-based methods are helpful for situations where they can be applied. A broader, less precise, and less expensive way to minimize tension is to get agreement on the nature, not content, of the goal being pursued. This strategy leverages the fact that everyone has at least some capacity in all four IOP styles. Even a strong idea-generating RI can see an issue in terms of methodical action and disciplined thought. They may not be terribly good at it, but a common perspective puts everyone on the same wavelength. Misalignments can be minimized and one of the sources of tension dampened. An even more general approach is to sensitize people using classical training. This is unlikely to keep issues from arising, but it can help mitigate their negative consequences. You can design a training course yourself, or you can use our 66-slide training program. It's free, no purchase required, just ask. You can see a summary of it in the coffee break video section of our IOP.com website if you have an interest. Still another and more personal option is to use the IOP Emotional Impact Management Report. The report is social in character and focuses on the impact that a person causes, not what they experience. It is individually specific and saves a lot of time at a very low cost. These general approaches can help, but specific teams composed of particular people benefit most from targeted methods. An IOP centroid distribution can help identify the particular issues a specific team is likely to encounter. Each person's preferences are denoted by a yellow dot. The further one dot is away from another, the more probable is the likelihood of interpersonal tension. And there are three basic ways to control these team-based tension sources. Roles are assignments of specific responsibility without specifying how they are to be fulfilled. They are most useful for people who tend not to follow rules. A person performing a defined role is shielded from accusations or negative attributions. They're just doing their duty. Rules are another option, if you can stand the rigidity they impose, and if you have people who will actually follow them. Again, rules take out discretion, and with it the opportunity for accusations or harmful attributions based on the behavior that they generate. Finally, processes can help control tension exposure. Processes are agreed upon sequences of activities designed for a particular function. For example, a group might have a lot of RIs who will generate many ideas, and reactive stimulators who are willing to act on them quickly. Scheduling frequent meetings reduces the probability of any impulsive ideas getting out of control. The meeting schedule becomes the process that limits the tension arising from unexpected behavior. You can tailor any of these tools yourself, or you can run an IOP team analysis that will give you the roles, rules, and processes suitable for a particular mix of people in a particular team. This low-cost report can be more cost-effective than spending the hours or even days needed to design your own tools. While tension cannot be completely prevented, it can be controlled. You simply have to choose the right tool for the nature of the work being done and the people doing it. These tools will not solve every source of team dysfunction, but they will address the tension-generating causes that will always be there for any team. Applying the understanding and the tools covered in this video will always make a positive contribution to the creation of high-performance teams. Thank you for viewing this video. If you would like to learn more about IOP technology, please visit our websites at iop.com or oeinstitute.org. Both sites have much more information on IOP and the areas where it has or can be applied. Thank you again for your interest in IOP technology.